That might be better. Hopefully you can hear me. Flipping heck, I always forget to do that. Infinity Blade, how are you, mate? What a day. Kieran Mitchell, evening, late one. Yeah, Calvin, how we doing, Calv? Alex, evening, mate. Kieran Mitchell, just watching the golf. Eddie Gilks, how you doing, mate? Reese Winston, ready to burn Woodhart. How you doing, guys? Sunday, who's had a good Sunday? Who's had a flipping great day? South Oxfordshire, oi, Captain. Calvin, how's the bathroom? Well, Calvin, you know, because you've been watching carefully. We're slowly getting there. We're slowly making bits of progress. What's that? Bloody big dog hair on my microphone. Robert Temple, how you doing, mate? Reese Shelling, John Flint. Good evening, Reese. How can you drink it straight from the can? Mate, because I'm basically a bit of an animal, so it doesn't bother me in the slightest. So what happened was today, we went out for, give me a minute. Let me just put this on sound. You know what's going to happen if I don't. There we go. We went out today, me and the missus, midday for a Sunday roast with the little fella, because can't really go on anywhere without the little fella. The girls all did their own thing. So me and the missus went out, and then out of the blue, we messaged our friends and decided to go and meet them after we ate. And when we met them, they were eating. And then before you know it, you sort of all sat around the table and one thing leads to the next, and then the kids are getting dropped off, and we all sort of stayed out a little bit longer than what we should have done. So I was hoping to get sort of on this live maybe about an hour ago, but we were otherwise engaged in good company and couldn't leave. So I've just got home now, and I was thinking, shall I bother? Shan't I? But if you guys show up, then, I enjoy it as well. So, John Flynn, yeah, we read that. Alex, Salford, well, 4 hours with me mate who's just had brain surgery. Bloody hell. Hope he's all right, Alex. Brain surgery. That's an operation you're not looking forward to, isn't it? It's like opening your flipping head up. Fair play to him. D, only one loyal man. Nice to see you, Kirk. Long time, top man. I know it's been a while. I'm tied up at the minute. What's happening is I've got a video that I'm in the middle of editing. Now, people have said to me, oh, get an external hard drive. So let me just fill you in on what's happening. At the minute, I'm struggling to make more content. I've done a sponsored video for a company, and they haven't yet approved the final edit. So I've sent an edit off to them, and then they come back with their feedback and say, oh, we're not quite happy. Can you do this and this and this and this? Fine. So I've changed a few things, sent it back to them, and then I'm waiting for their response. Now, all this takes like 3 or 4 days at a time. I didn't have a response for a while, so I've messaged them. I'm like, look, let me know. There's a few technical things our side. We'll be back in touch with you soon. Fine. Now, what the thing is, I've put all the effort in and made the video. I've put all the effort in and edited the video. So I ultimately want paying for it because it's a sponsored video. Now, if I take it off my computer, off the proxy. So when I'm editing it, it builds a proxy file so I can keep editing it. Now, I don't really understand computers properly, but for me to get it out of the editing app and somewhere else stored, I can do that. But I have to upload the video. And once it's done that, I can't go in and check. So say, for instance, I'm making a video and I put writing on the screen. Whilst that's in the edited section of the computer, I can go in there and change the writing. For me to store that on an external hard drive or the cloud or anything, I have to upload it. And once I've done that, I then can't go in and change the writing. I've basically just finished the video and put it somewhere else. I can't put it on the shelf in the editing state. Does that make sense? So whilst I can adjust everything, I can lengthen the scenes, shorten them, chop them, put writing in, sound effects, all that. it's all there, and I can adjust everything. But as soon as I sort of upload it to move it somewhere else, it's no longer like that. And then I have to delete the proxy because that's what takes up all the space on my computer. So it's a little bit stressful because they're dragging the heels, and whilst they're not giving me the definite thumbs up, do it, post it, I can't post it, and I can't do anything else until that's off my computer because my computer brain is only little. The brain on this laptop can't handle too much sort of stuff. So I'm a little bit snookered until they say, yeah. Now, it wouldn't be so bad if they weren't sort of paying me so well. If it was, if it was that neither here nor there, I'd just have to can it, stuff them. But it's a nice amount of money, so I don't really want to lose it, if that makes sense. So I'm just a bit stuck between a rock and a hard place at the minute. Anyway, I'm not whinging about it. It's okay. It's all good. It's just that I just want to explain to you guys why you might not see much of me for the next week or so until I get the thumbs up. I've just been posting videos that I've made a couple of videos and stored them already on YouTube, not released them. Videos that I wasn't really made up with. I made them and I was like, that'll do. And then I was like, nah, it's not good enough. So I didn't release them. So now all I'm doing is sort of unlocking them in the meantime, which is a bit naff because they're not great videos. I know they're not entertaining as such. So anyway, the Wandering Mason, oi, Kirk, how you doing, mate? You okay? Colleen Casey, my first live with the best and funniest plasterer on YouTube. Greetings from the Netherlands. Cheers, Colleen. Thank you very much. If I knew there was ladies watching, I would have done my hair a bit better. The Uber Noob. Sorry to hear about your laptop being full. I know that was literally my mistake as well, because when I got this laptop, I tried to get the best I could. I was like, look, I want the most memory. I want all all the stuff. And I basically, because I'm good with my hands, give me a hammer and a trowel. Fantastic. Give me a laptop. I'm sort of, I'm learning as I'm going. I'm not saying I'm rubbish, but I'm learning. And I sort of got diddled on my laptop because I got sold something probably a little bit overpriced for what the quality is, thinking it was a lot better quality than what it actually was. And it turns out I got the Samsung Note 360 blah de blah that I was going for, and there's three versions. There's sort of like the rubbish version, the intermediate version, and then the top of range version with like a terabyte of memory and 36 gig of RAM and all this caper, and that's what I wanted, and I ended up with the NAF version. So, and paying through the teeth for it, but it is what it is. We live and learn. Artisan Cars, good evening, Kirk. Joe Mellor, evening, Kirk. Hope life's well. Yeah, put the clock right. What? Sorry. How can you see that? I'll have to keep my head there so you can't see it. I'm sorry. I'll adjust that in a minute. Andrew, I can't do it now, and if I'm honest with you, I'll tell you why as well. So I shouldn't say this, but I can't get up and adjust the clock because I've just got home after we've just been out for Sunday roast. I'm stuffed, and I've had to undo my belt. And if I get up now, my jeans will probably be half down, so I'm just going to stay where I am. Andrew, hi, Kurt. Question for you: SPR or PVA for an Artex ceiling? Which one gives you more time to plaster it? Cheers. SPR. So when you come to skim over anything, really, SPR seals it far better than PVA. Like literally, it's head and shoulders far superior. So definitely SPR. And if you want the best out of the SPR, leave it overnight. So if you SPR it the day before, the next day, give it a good coat of solid SPR, no water, just put it on neat, give it a good coat. The next day, it'll be perfect. Reese Snelling, me and my college tutor are big fans of On the Trowel. Love watching during 30 work. Yeah. Skiving Reese, I know the score. Where have we gone here now? Alex, he's sweet, mate, just being a drama queen. Fair dues. Um, the only one loyal man. See, you'd have a YouTube plaque there, Kirk. Yes. Yeah. To be fair, mate, I'm made up with that. 100,000 subs, and you only get one of those if you don't buy subscribers. They have to be legit. So what happens is some channels, they sort of, you can always tell really by the views on the channels. If you look at someone's channel and they've got like 300,000 subscribers, but the videos are only getting maybe 5,000 views, you think, well, that's a little bit fishy. And what can sometimes happen is some channels will go out and buy subscribers. You can pay like 100 quid and get 1,000 subscribers. But I don't know. In my mind, I was thinking if I was doing a rubbish job, I'd just do a better job. That's how I'd look at it. So anyway, yeah, it's genuine. So I've got the plaque. Cheers, guys. Anyway, it's all you guys, actually. Thanks for the support. The Uber Noob, your sponsor should give you a new lappy. I know, mate. I know. I don't mind getting a new one. The thing is, what I did was this laptop, because I get me, I upgraded my phone so I take better video. I do all my filming on my phone, so the filming, the sound, all that is all done on that phone, which has got a terabyte of storage. So I upgraded my phone, and then through EE, I thought, well, I'll get a business laptop as well. So I thought it just makes sense to get it all on the same plan. And that's how I ended up with this laptop, which is good, but it's not what I wanted. So I would get a new laptop. I would actually go out and upgrade it now, but I'm still paying for this one till November. I can't do any. I could end the contract sooner. I could just pay them off, and that's it. But I'm thinking, whilst I'm still paying for it, I can just struggle along with it for the time being. And as soon as this contract's finished, I'll upgrade it and get the best one. Then, I've since learned more and understood what I'm meant to be saying when I'm speaking to them on the phone, so I can get a better one. So, in a little bit of time, we will upgrade. Artisan cars. I'll ask a good friend if you want me to get him to upgrade the computer in the next few weeks if he's available. If it's possible. I mean, I don't know what's possible. I don't know if you can put a bigger RAM and bigger memory in the computer. I don't know if you can do it. That'd be great. I mean, I don't mind paying the man whatever it sort of costs. So just make my life a lot easier. Looking forward to seeing the external window rendering. Yeah, Douglas Davidson, it's on its way, mate. Bear with me. Just a little bit longer. Jamie Phillips, hi, mate. Thinking of going out on my own. What is the most important thing to do? Prepare for before making the jump. Right. Before you do anything, Jamie, whatever job you're in now, don't quit it. Okay. This will be my best advice for you. If you want to go and start getting your own work in, do that now. Whilst you have currently got a job, start bringing in as much work as you possibly can and squeeze jobs in on the weekend, of evenings, just find ways of fitting them in around your current job. And when you get to the point where you're like 3 or 4 weeks booked up and you've got that much work that your own job is getting in the way, then quit your own job. What would be a sad thing to do would be to quit your job and then start trying to get working. And then you're sort of, you're in panic mode because you need the work. So I would definitely start trying to bring jobs in sooner rather than later. And when it comes to getting working, what you're going to find is, rather than advertising for work, market yourself. If there's hundreds of plasterers out there, So from a customer's point of view, if I live in your area, I've probably got 50 plasterers to choose from. Okay. But putting yourself in the customer's shoes, the best person to choose is someone that you already like. So you've got social media at your disposal. If you can use social media to put yourself out there, say Facebook, Instagram, whatever, however you want to do it, but if you want to use social media and show people you as a person, the type of guy you are, and people go, oh, he's a lovely fella, Jamie. He loves his missus, he loves his kids, he's a nice guy, he's honest, he's trustworthy. You can use social media to market yourself to such an extent where people know what they're getting. And then if little Mrs. Jones is sat here deciding who she's going to pick to phone, and she already knows you because she's seen you online, she's seen your posts on Facebook, and she thinks you're such a lovely guy and trustworthy. And then she's got another guy who she doesn't know who they are whatsoever, then who's she going to call? So what I would do now is focus on marketing yourself and getting people to know you and getting them to like you. Now you don't have to lie. I'm not saying do anything underhanded or sneaky, but use social media to your benefit for getting people to know the real you and to see how much of a nice person you are. And that way, people love buying from people that they like. If I want someone to come and do my kitchen, I could have 3 or 4 fellas to pick from. But if I know a fella is sound, lovely guy, family guy, I'm going to feel a lot better with having him in my house with my wife and my 3 daughters than somebody else, say, because people will check it out on the internet. People will go on Facebook and search who you are before they get you round. And if there's another guy and on his social media, all he's doing is he's out partying, he's got different girls hanging off his arm every weekend, he's a bit of a player, he says controversial things, he's got strong opinions on things that are a little bit, close to the bone. Someone like that might think, well, I don't really want someone like that around my missus and kids. So just something to bear in mind. Think of how you can put yourself out on the internet and how people will perceive you, because the world's changed. And it used to be people would get your phone number from the pub or passed from a neighbour, whereas now you'll get recommended on the internet and people will come to your profile and check it out. So if you want any more help with that, by the way, you're more than welcome to jump in my sales and marketing group, where I've literally got about 70 videos taking you step by step how to generate work and sort of put your best foot forward. And again, it's not lying, it's not anything underhanded. It's just knowing what to reveal about yourself so that people get to see the good side of you, you know. Anyway, moving on. Vikesh Patel. Hope I've said your name right. Mr. Patel, I'll call you because I know I'm saying Patel correctly. Evening, question on beading. I'm going to plaster around a window, which is going to be over 1 centimetre. Which beads do I use, or do I fill out before using skim beading? Yeah, over a centimetre. That's quite thick, that really. Finishing plaster usually goes on about 2 or 3 mil thick. So I would potentially look at using some back coat plaster first. Now you can get render beads, float beads, not necessarily plastic. You can get metal ones that you can fill out to with a back coat plaster. They might be a good shout. Put them on first, get them plumb, and then work out to them with a back coat plaster. Cut it back a little bit on the nib, and then you can skim up to it, Poo Pot. Hello, Kirk. Hope all's well. Can I pick your brains tonight? Why is your waterproof a red in the video? And you did. With okay, right. Why is my waterproof a red? So you've probably got the clear version. So it's ultimately, it doesn't make any difference. Waterproofer is a soap made up of basically it's like fat. That's basically what it is. It's fat, and it's made from different sources. So depending on whereabouts you are, depends on what ingredients they will use. So some waterproofer will come clear, and it will smell like it'll almost smell like lemon fairy liquid, and then some will come red, and it'll smell a little bit less fruity, if that makes sense. And it just depends on what ingredients they're using, but they will all be tested to the same standards. So it's a bit like when you buy a bag of bonding, depending where you are in the country. If you buy bonding back coat plaster, depending where you are, you might get grey and you might get pink. So it just depends on which factory that you've bought that. You're probably using Everbuild. So that's what I've been using for the last couple of weeks. Just depends which one of their factories. Everbuild is actually owned by Seeker, so it just depends on which factory it's come out of, depending on what ingredients they used. There'll be no difference. It's just the colour. Brothers, what's the deal with the Chinese firm? Can you mention it on the live, or have we got to wait for the video to drop? Yeah, so I can't mention who they are, but by the fact that I've said, this Chinese firm, you will know when the video drops, which I'm sure is going to be, if they don't get back to me in another week and a half, say, because I've got 1 or 2 more videos that I can unlock on YouTube, which right. So to put you in the picture, I'll make a video. I'll film a video. I have like a content schedule. See all this stuff here? It's all stuff that I'm making videos on. I'll make a video, but that video that I'm making now, you might not see for a month or 2 months or 3 months, whatever, because it takes time. So I've got videos that I'm in the process of making, and then I make them, and then I edit them, I film them, and they can sit on my phone and in hard drives for whatever time until I decide to get around to doing it. I'll edit them, and then I'll upload them to YouTube. And when they're uploaded, they go as an unlisted link, so no one can see them. And then I can turn them public whenever I want. So what I always have sort of 1 or 2 videos that I can just turn public. And sometimes I'll make a video, I'm not happy with it. I've made it, and it's the best I can do with what I've got, and I watch it and I'm thinking, it's naff, it's not how I wanted it to come across. So I just leave it unlisted, and that's where I'm sort of at now. So I've got like 2 videos that are unlisted at the minute, which they're not my best work, they're not my best efforts, and they're not the most entertaining, but they're just there, and I could release them, and which I might do until I can do this Chinese one. Now, I can't say who the Chinese company is yet, because whenever you're working with someone, you do a non-disclosure thing. But the fact that I've told you it's a Chinese company, you will know when the video comes out. There'll be no mistake. I'm sure you'll 100% know. And they're great. Up to now, we've had absolutely no problem. Fantastic to work with. They've done everything that I've asked for, and I've done everything they've asked for. It's just the whole process is taking longer than what it usually does. So usually I'll work with somebody and we'll do like a sponsored integration. So someone will say, can you do a sponsored thing for us, 60 or 90 seconds in your video? And I'll do it because they pay you, and if they're paying well, then I'll do the job. And you send them a rough edit, and they say, "Oh, change one or 2 things." Don't, because what it is when you advertise with somebody. When I do a video, when I post my own videos, I can say whatever I want, and if it's wrong, it's wrong. If I cock up and say something stupid that's not quite correct, it doesn't really matter. But when you do a sponsored video and somebody is paying for advertisements where you guys are going to purchase on the other end, if I say something wrong, then it's illegal for them. So they have to check it and make sure it's absolutely correct. For instance, if I said if I did another sponsored thing for AG1, these guys, which I haven't done any more with because they've been bloody lowballing me, trying to get me to do things for peanuts. But if I did something for them, and I said, for instance, it's It's a meal shake. Well, it's not a meal shake, so they could literally be sued for it. So you have to say it just perfect. So you send it back, and then they check it and send it back to you. And that usually happens with the likes of these. It's all done like boom, emails, boom, 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 done, fixed. 2 or 3 days, you can post a video. Whereas this company, every email, there's like a 3 or 4 or 5 day sort of lapse before they reply to you, which is fine. It's just causing me a little bit of stress because I'm more, I'll sort of bump, bump, bump. Let's go. So anyway, it is what it is. But brothers, there'll be no doubt in your mind when this video comes out. You will know 100%. Andrew Mills, thank you. Omar, guess it's better to keep a bit of content flowing for the algorithms, even if you're not so happy with it. Seeing people comment on your short about getting an external hard to expand your storage. Yeah, look, so just so you know, there's a terabyte in there. There's a terabyte in there. So there's 2 terabytes of storage, and I've got this little bloody thing as well. It's not that. I've got plenty of space to store. I've got space to store videos. Oh, what have I done here now? There we go. I've got space to store stuff, but when I'm editing, it's actually on my laptop. It's not in storage, and the whole file has to be on my laptop where I can change stuff. And to try and get it onto that, I have to upload it to that, which means I have to take it out the edited state and put it onto that. And then once it's on that and I bring it back, it's not in the edited state. And I can still edit it, but everything that I've already done is sort of like fixed in place. Does that make sense? Imagine painting a picture and the paint's all wet and the paint's soaking wet. And whilst it's wet, you can wipe bits off and add new bits in, and you can change things, and you can make the eyes bigger on the face and all that sort of stuff. To put it into storage, you have to let the paint dry, and then it can go into storage. And when you bring it back, you can't really adjust everything because it's dry. That's the best way I can explain it in my mind of how it works, because there's probably a way of being able to do it in the edited state, but I'm not a nerd. Give me a hammer and a trowel, I'm all right. Give me a bloody laptop and I'm like a monkey, aren't I? Like a chimp in the zoo. So I'm just trying my best. Patrick Ahern, any advice on scratch coating over a weak scud slurry coat? It seems firm enough, but I'm not sure the cement content is, as I didn't start the job and have concerns the finished render will crack. Okay. So ideally, so it depends what you're top coating with, Patrick. If you're using, it's quite important that you go weaker as you come out in coats. Okay, but this thinking comes from when you're doing line work, and I'll tell you why it is ultimately. So when it comes to sand and cement, it's not so vital that you are coming down in weaker coats. So I'll do a sand and cement scratch coat, and I'll use a 4-to-1 mix, and I'll top it with a 4-to-1 mix. And people say, oh, you should go weaker and weaker on the way out. Now, that thought process comes from lime plastering. And the reason being is because of the winter cycles. So if you lime plaster somebody's house, the lime will absorb the moisture and then it'll release it as well. Okay. It's not breathing as such, but it lets moisture go. People say it's breathable, and it is, but it doesn't mean that it's like taking deep breaths. What it means is it'll release the moisture. But whilst the moisture is in there, when it takes the freeze and thaw process on in the winter, if you get a brick, say you get a soft clay brick, and you soak it full of water, and then you freeze it, right? The brick is going to expand ever so slightly. Okay, so you want your lime render on the outside to be a slightly weaker mix, so that that expands slightly as well, and then the next coat on will expand easily as well. If you start putting on stronger mixes, they won't expand. So it's like if the brick can expand a little bit because it's full of moisture, but then your lime render, if you've used like hydraulic lime, so you've used an NHL5, right? That's not going to be as let moisture travel through it as easily. So when the brick expands, the render's not going to as much, and that's when you start getting the front shelling off. So this is why if you get like a sand and cement render on old buildings and the moisture can get in behind it, when that freeze thaw cycle happens, that's why it starts to shell off and break the front of the bricks. So it's important when you're doing lime rendering that you come down weaker and weaker and weaker. Sand and cement, I mean, I'm not going to say start putting a one-to-one mix on, but it's not as vital. As long as your background isn't just dust, you know, if you put a 5-to-1 scratch coat and a 5-to-1 top coat, you're going to be pretty much fine, mate, you know. It's only, and if you're going to put a waterproof it and seal it, now if you're going to let moisture penetrate through it, that's when it can cause problems, because the water can get through to the brickwork, and the the freeze thaw cycle can still happen, and that's when you start wrecking the brickwork. You know, you've seen it, haven't you? Sand and cement render comes off, and all the bricks are all the faces of the bricks are gone. That's because you've let it freeze, and it's the water's expanded, and it's, you know, the bricks sort of moved out, but there's nowhere for it to go, and it's popped the faces off. So it's more important when it comes to line work, that, to be honest with you. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's, you know, it's doesn't make the slightest bit of difference when it comes to cement, but it's not quite as important as long as it's sealed. If there's no water being able to get in there, if it's got a waterproofing additive and it's been painted, then you're going to be pretty much okay, mate. You know, good 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 mix, and you'll be fine. If the background's super dusty and you are going to put sand and cement on it, then look at using a stabilizing solution first, just to consolidate it, or chop out the scud coat. Is that what you called it? Sorry, slurry coat. Yeah. So you slurry coat, if it's weak, if it's dusty, you know, stabilize it, or if it's really dusty and it's crap, just take it off and start again. Simon Mount. Simple question from a beginner. Do you fill out the beads on the first coat? If you do, then how do you apply more on the second coat while still running the trowel over the bead, if that makes sense? It does make sense. And yes, I do fill out on the first coat. So if I'm running up the side of a window reveal, I will literally make the trowel go up and down, not into the bead. Don't. If that's the skin bead there, yeah, sorry for the crap example. If that's a skin bead, I will run up and down with the trowel so it's completely filled out. I won't curve into it, you know, and make a C shape. I will fill it fully on the first coat. When you come to put your second coat on, it's going to go on that tight. It won't make a difference. It genuinely, you're not putting it on like the thickness of sand and cement. You are literally putting it on tight. So it'll be fine. It'll be okay. Now, sorry, I'm just going to plug something here now. So feel free to just cover your ears if you don't want to hear me bloody advertising myself. What I've done is I try and answer as many questions as I possibly can on these lives, and I thoroughly enjoy giving you as much advice as I can. What happens to me is I get emails, I get WhatsApp messages, I get Facebook messages, I get text messages. People find hold of me, and I must get about 100 messages easily every couple of days. You know, every week I've got about 300 messages. I genuinely cannot get back to everybody. It just takes over my life. So what I've done is I will continue to these lives. I always will, and I'll always answer all the questions in the comments. As you know, if you watch me, you know I always try and get to the end of the comments before I sign off. If you want more in-depth advice, if you want more help, in the link of this video, in the description, there's a link there. And basically what it is, if you're happy to buy me a pint on a Friday, the cost of a pint on a Friday, you can be added to a private WhatsApp group. So if you go in the description of this video and you click on the link, it'll take you to a little payment thing, and you basically pay the cost of buying me a pint a week, and you can be added to a private WhatsApp group, and you'll be able to get a hold of me 7 days a week. As long as I'm awake, I'll reply to you. And the beauty of it is we can do it by video calls, we can do pictures, and we can get so much more sort of, I'm limited what I can do here. The advice I can give you, I'm sort of limited. Whereas if I'm in my van, I can literally get tools and materials and show you stuff. So that option's there. If anybody wants more information, more advice, a bit more in-depth stuff, wants to be able to contact me whenever you want, 7 days a week, description, click on the link there. It'll cost you as much as a pint a week for me. If you're happy to buy me a pint on a Friday, I will quite happily give you as much time as you need all through the week, as much as advice as you want. Now, anyway, there's my little plug. I'll shut up now. Yeah, so your second coat will fit on tight, mate. Don't worry about it. It'll go in. Hi, bye. Where's he gone now? Hello, boss. I always watch your vids, and whenever I get someone new with me, I try to teach the little tricks which I've learned from you. It sucks that we use different brands, though. Glad I can learn it, though. What brands do you use, mate? Whereabouts are you from, mate? Alex Evans, hi Kirk, I'm a joiner by trade, but I've done some plastering for my sister recently, and your video at the leisure centre really helped me. Keep up the good work. Cheers. Nice one, Alex. Sorted, mate. Thank you very much. Jamie321, I left my job as a joiner and went self-employed when I had about 4 weeks of work booked in. Yeah, I mean, you just don't want to leave and have nothing lined up and then start looking for work. That's the only thing, isn't it? So, Craig Lucas, hey brother, how's you doing? Spot on, Craig. Thank you, mate. Mr. Patel, another question. Do I have to apply 2 coats of bonding plaster, let it dry, then 2 coats of multi-finish, or can do apply them all in one go after letting each layer go off? Yes. So your bonding coat, each coat of bonding, you want to let that set, not dry. Okay. So bonding and hardwall, they're the 2 gypsum back coat plasters that you can use. So as far as back coat plasters are concerned, you've got sand and cement, you've got lime plasters, right? That different thing. But your gypsum bags that you can buy from the shop, you've got bonding coat and you've got hardwall. They are designed to be skimmed over when they are set, but not dry. So I would put bonding on in the morning or hardwall in the morning and skim it after dinner. Okay. So you can put a couple of coats of bonding on as it sets and then skim it later on. So it doesn't have to dry out. Now, when it comes to doing your 2 coats of multi-finish or board finish, you don't want any of that to set. So you're going to put a coat of multi-finish on the wall, say. That's your first coat. You want to second coat that as soon as it starts firming up. So when you can touch it with your fingers, but it's not sticking to your fingers, but you're still leaving an imprint, that's when it's time to second coat it. So if you want 2 things here, but you basically will go and watch a video of mine on skimming, and you'll see that when the skim's ready to be, second coated, that's when it's good to go. Okay. Don't let the first coat set. Reese Snelling, what's your go-to way of fixing skim beads? Come on, are you having a bloody laugh, Reese, or what? I've literally just released a video showing you how to do it. My preferred way is nailing. Every time I'll nail it. If I can't nail it, then I'll stick them on with scrim. And if I can't do that because they need bringing in or out, then I'll bed them on. And that's it. That's the 3 ways I do. I either nail them, stick them, or bed them. Ali, love the videos. Keep it up. Cheers, Ali. Thank you very much, mate. Poopop. Okay, mate. Thanks. I live in Liverpool. I've got the Everbold stuff and it's clear. I found the dilution instructions on the back hard to follow Am I stupid? No, you're not, mate. Maybe you could do a short tutorial on it. I'll just tell you, when you read the back of a tub of waterproofer, it'll tell you to add so many litres per 25 kilograms of cement or 50 kilograms of cement. Okay. Simply get yourself, not a can, get yourself a little, bottle of Lucozade, 500 ml or a litre bottle. Cut the top off so you can pour the stuff in. So then you've got a measuring jug, or just not like me, because I'm a bloody tramp. So I just use what I've got to hand. You could go to the shop, go to a supermarket and buy a measuring jug so you can literally measure out a litre or half a litre or whatever. And then just measure what you put in the bucket. So I know if I put a 25 kilogram bag of cement, a 25 kilogram bag of sand in, then I put 50 kilograms of sand and cement in. So if I do a 3-to-1 mix, I know then I've put a 25 cement, a 25 sand, another 25 sand, another 25 sand. There's basically 100 kilograms of cement in that bucket. That's 100 kilograms. And it might say put 500 mil to 50 kilograms of cement. Well, I've got 100 in the tub, so I'm going to use a litre. Simple as that. So I'll get my little measuring jug. I fill it up to a litre. Done. 1 bag of cement, 3 bags of sand, 1 litre of stuff. That's the maximum. That's simple. Always use the maximum. It's going to be a lot easier for plastering applications. If you're using it to hold back moisture or you're using it to hold back suction, then you always want to use the maximum amount. You don't want to go above it. If you go above it, because what happens is, waterproofer, it's a fat that reacts with the cement and it causes hydrophobic salts. And these little salts that are all crystals, they call them crystals, but it's basically a salt. It's not like the hygroscopic salt that you get on the surface of damp. It's actually in the cement. And these little crystals that form, they stay there forever. And all the little voids in cement, there's like little gaps. And it's like a sponge. Imagine you picked out a bath sponge and it's full of little holes, isn't it? And you could dip the sponge in water, and because those little holes, the capillary reaction draws the water up the sponge a little bit. So if you get your sponge and there's the level of your bath water, and you dip your sponge in there, you're going to get water soak up the sponge from about there because the capillary reaction draws it up a little bit because of the voids in the sponge. It's the same with cement when it comes to moisture. And what those hydrophobic crystals do that the waterproofer forms is they fill up all those little voids. If you put too much waterproofer in, you get too many of those crystals and it stops the matrix binding everything together. Sorry, stops the cement working. All right. The cement is what binds everything together and it'll stop that happening. So, because there's too many crystals in the way, pushing it all apart. So you don't want to put too much waterproofer in because it'll just make the mix dead dusty. You'll be able to rub it away. So just put the specified amount in to the maximum and it'll work perfect. Bloody hell, that was a tongue twister. It's going to get more exciting soon. I don't know if you guys have noticed. With me content, just so you know, I'm not bothering telling the whole world, but you guys that watch me lives, I feel like we're like a little community. So I'll just tell you what I'm doing. When I started the channel, and I started from a little lad, I'm literally going through the steps. Don't be wrong, I do put videos in, like sponsored videos and fun videos and me helping people out because it is genuinely my life to life sort of stuff. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put the content out there in the way that I was taught myself. So I first learned to check me trowel and what tools are needed, and then how to skim a wall. So if you go back to my channel and go to the very, very beginning, that is literally the order that we're following. What tools do I need? How do you start skimming a wall? How to mix plaster? And I've gone through how to skim and then patching is a little bit more advanced than skimming. So I've done videos on patching, and then it's going to basically work its way through. Not always in a perfect order, but I'm aiming for an order of tools, mixing, different types of plaster that you can use, skimming, patching, plasterboard and all this, all the basic stuff, and then moving into sand and cement, how to float, how to run screeds, how to do all different sorts of external sand and cement work. And that's where we're at now. I'm sort of trying to go through the same steps that I went through as an apprentice, so that when my lad watches them, if he watches them in order, which he probably won't, but I'm trying my hardest. Once we've done all the sand and cement stuff, we're going to move on to the lime work. So we'll go through, hot lime, hydrated lime, hydraulic limes, the difference between them all, different things that you can add to lime, hydrated lime to make it set faster, like bloody ash and all sorts of stuff that causes it to set. There's lime can get quite in depth, but we'll do all that sort of stuff after we finish the cement stuff, and then eventually we'll sort of finish on the fibrous plastering and the running in situ, all the sort of ornate plaster work. That's the way I'm sort of trying to take it, and I'm thinking by the time we cover all of that, that'll probably take me about 6 years to get to all the content out there. And in between all that, I will keep sprinkling in videos that, maybe people want to see on patching and skimming. And, when the new guys join the channel, they sort of don't want to watch all the dead old stuff. So we'll keep recapping a few things, but that's the direction that we're going in. We'll cover all cement, then all the lime work, and then all the decorative plaster work, internal and external, mouldings, internal, external, all that jazz. That's the plan. That's the plan up to now. So just giving you an idea of which way we're going. Right, I'll shut up and read some comments for a minute. Brothers, I can only think of one thing. TikTok funny. I can only think of on thing TikTok funny that because sometimes people say TikTok as a way of reminding someone to hurry up long. So need to confirm or deny Kirk. Will we find out soon enough? I'm assuming you're talking about this Chinese company. I don't know where we're up to here, Brothers, but yeah, hopefully you will. Artisan Cars have sent you a text. Okay, mate. Give me let's finish this live and I'll take a look at my phone. Nikki, I used to be a plasterer, but I do scaffolding now. Out of the two, I think plastering is the hardest. I used to work on price and it was a killer on the body. Yeah, been there, mate, done it. I know exactly what you're talking about. Now I'm quite lazy though, so you won't catch me on price. Well, not on site prices anyway. I still work on price, but for the public. Not I set the prices, not the flipping contractors. Reese Winston, quick question. I've been self-employed for about 1 year as a sole trader. I'm getting about 3 or 4 jobs a month, averaging around 3.5 grand a month. But I'm struggling to get a van, a house, kids, and wife to pay for. Reese, I can help you, but go to the channel description. When you go to the channel description, find the little link, kirkjohnstone.co.uk. Click on that and go to the bit where it says get more work with Kirk. Help you, mate. No problem at all. John Irvin, hi Kirk. Do you have new dates for the plastering day? Cheers. Not yet, but there's a couple of fellas that are sort of keen to get going really soon. There's 2 guys there. If you want to jump on, John as well, and there's a few people on the waiting list. I'm sure we can put a day together quite soon. I've just got to check with the Liverpool School of Plastering. I can't just pluck dates out the air because the Liverpool School of Plastering might already have somebody booked in and lined up. So, but now a few people have mentioned it as well. I will literally chase that up in the next day or two, and I will put a date out. Keep checking if you would, please, mate, or not keep checking, but maybe have a look at the end of next week. on my website, kirkjohnstone.co.uk. There's a link there and a new date. And I will have a new date on there, mate, by this time next week. Okay. That's the easiest way of saying it. So check back next Sunday and there'll be a date there when it's happening again. And you're more than welcome to jump on, mate. Nunzio Nuns, you're a top-notch plasterer render. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. I don't feel it. I feel I'm just getting fat and lazy at the minute. I need to get back stuck in doing some graft. Colleen Casey, you're so right about being careful, and the world is nothing like it was even just 10 years ago. I have no time extra, but I will still click on your vids. You can buy truth, humour, and extreme skill. Colleen, that's very, very kind of you to say. Thank you, love. Thank you very much. J-Way, tips for keeping wet angles neat. Come on, mate. Take a little bit and go in neat. Don't just bosh in there with all your stuff, you know. Just wipe it off a little bit shy of the angle, about an inch out. Take a little bit off and then just go in very slowly and neat to the angle. Practice going in neat to the angles, and then you'll just get faster and faster at it where, you know, I can do a neat wet angle just as fast as a hard angle, you know, without even thinking about it. Just muscle memory. Nick Butcher, thanks. I just enjoy learning from you. Terrific. Cheers, Nick. Thank you, mate. Oh, where have we gone here now? Say Fuller Mohammed. I hope I've said your name correctly, mate. I'm sorry if I haven't. Glad watching you from Nassau, Bahamas. Flipping it, mate. Don't start making me jealous. I wish I was in the Bahamas. The Wandering Mason. Can you shout out to my mate, Ivan Tashit? I don't even know, right? I don't even know if you're taking the mic now. Bugger off. Ivan, I hope, right, this isn't a real fella now, because it sounds like Ivan to shit. If that's a real person, I'm sorry for abusing you. He's a little bloody rascal, the Wandering Mason, I tell you. Nosley, hey Kirk. Just want to say a massive thank you for your videos. I've been plastering my log cabin and noticed one of my walls is a bit wavy and not totally flat. How do I get things flat first time round? Mostly, if it's your log cabin, just don't worry about it. What's the matter? How square? What's the point of having a log cabin if it's going to be like a cube inside? But on a serious note, mate, if you've been, I'm assuming you're using like, I don't know, clay plaster or something inside. You could run screeds, mate. So just go and have a look at the video I did a couple of days ago and form some screeds and just do it that way. Pete Arnold, hi from Rutland. Thoughts on plasterboard popping discs off screw heads years after plaster? Do you find what it's first stopped off with before plaster? That was the best filler. Wait there. Sorry, mate. I'm going to read this again. Hi from Rutland. Thoughts on plasterboard popping discs off screw heads years after plaster? Do you find what is first stopped off with before plaster has a best filler? I'm sorry, Pete. I'm not trying to be a weirdo. I don't. Give me a little bit more. Just say it again, mate. I don't. I'm not. I might be reading it wrong, but I don't understand what you're saying, mate. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be funny, mate. Just give me another shot at it. Write it again. Just try and word it slightly different, mate, because I'm struggling to understand what you're saying. Colleen Casey, I'm a nightmare. 5 years renovation that should have been 3 months, but when the end is near, 100% offering you first. No shit. I'm American, by the way. Colleen, you're doing a good job. Listen, if it was meant to be 3 months and it's taken you 5 years, then you're going quite quick. Serious note. Serious. I started, look, I'm in the trade. I've got the skills to do it myself. And I've also got all the people at my disposal. All my mates are all in the trade. I could literally make things happen like that, you know. I could probably have a house built in a bloody month if I wanted to. And my bathroom hasn't been finished for a year, over a year. So don't worry about it. It is what it is. Look, Rome wasn't built in a day, was it? Doesn't make a difference. It's not hurting nobody. Um, Jack Henderson. Thoughts on the old school hemp insulated lime plaster? So, Jack, it's interesting because as far as I was aware, the books I read on old school stuff. Give me a second. Let me have a look. I've got some good stuff to tell you guys. So, it's not old school. It's fairly modern. I don't think there's any mention of hemp in there. I have read it a few times and I can't recall any mention of hemp. This is old school, right? This is what they call, some people get mixed up and call Taylor's book the Bible of Plastering. There is another book by Peg and Stag, but I can't see it. There's a few old books on plastering, but this, you can't, the cover's worn off now. Let me show you inside. This is what they call the Bible of Plastering. Plastering, Plain and Decorative by William Miller. Now, when we're talking about this sort of stuff, you know, he's explaining how to do plastering to this sort of standard, you know, setting out ceilings like this. Can you see that? There we go. Now it's not a picture book, you know. How to form niches and all the rest of it, you know. See all here the measurements for columns or yeah, anyway, you get the gist of it. I've read that cover to cover a couple of times, and I cannot recall them mentioning anywhere in there hemp with the lime plaster. So I've never used this stuff. I've never come across it. Now I do know about it. I've heard of it, but I've never personally used it. But I don't think it's old school. I think it's a modern way of insulating plaster, to be honest with you, mate. So, and I haven't really looked into it. So I'll give you my opinion, but come back to me in a month or two when I've had sort of time to, you know, have a look what's going on with it and what they're doing with it, you know. I do know that there's a massive sort of green thing going on at the minute, you know, which is good. You know, people building houses out of straw bales and clay plastering them. And there's a massive, what I'm struggling with at the minute is there's a massive lime community, which is good. Lime is a absolutely superior building product. And there could be, in my mind, there's a bit of a conspiracy really, because lime plaster is by far better than gypsum and cement. It repairs itself. It doesn't suffer so much with damp. It can get damp. People thinking that lime completely cures damp is incorrect. You can get damp walls of lime plaster, and you can also get mold growing on lime as well. It's not as common as gypsum and cement, but it can happen. So it's not a complete fix for everything, the lime stuff. But at the minute, there's a big community of lime. I call them the lime nerds. I call everyone a nerd, by the way, so don't take it personally. If you're a computer nerd or a science nerd, I'm a plastering nerd. But there's lime nerds out there, and they bloody jump on me every time I put cement on something, and they're attacking me, going, should be lime, should be lime. Like, oh, man, you've read an article on lime, and you're trying to tell me about lime. I know all about lime. You don't need to start attacking me. And when I get to the lime stuff, I'll be able to flipping help you with it. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but you know, I'm a bloody bookworm. I read the books. I've done it my whole life. So it's just interesting, isn't it? You know, all the different products and what have you that's coming out and different things. But ultimately, the old ways are the best. And lime is a far superior product than almost anything else you've got on the market these days. I can't even think where we were going with that. Then I've lost my thread, but it's what happens So what happens if I had a Guinness? Hmm. If in the like, oh golly, I don't even. Right, the person with the terrible YouTube name that has said, "You and Vancouver Carpenter giving grade A lessons. Appreciate you much. You're an absolute gent." Or gentle S. Thank you very much for the kind comment. I can't read your YouTube name. Ifin Ali got YouTube. Oh, okay. Sorry, my mistake. I finally got YouTube. All one word. I finally got YouTube. You and Vancouver Carpenter giving grade A lessons. Appreciate you. Thank you kindly. Hi, bye. We use MP75 or Gold Band Quick, and when we have to plaster like a bathroom for tiles, we use Bostik Stucco W140. I'm from the Netherlands, by the way. Yeah, fair play. MP75. I've never used Gold Band. I've heard of MP75 though. Misra Furkan. Boss, go to sleep now. Yeah, what time is it? You're probably not far wrong. Reese Snelling. Oh, my bad, lol. Haven't watched that one yet. Reese, you rascal. I thought you'd having a laugh, Reese. WG, just wondering how would you tackle a garage which is attached to a house and has air coming from air brick and through the gaps in the door, and the other side has air coming through the gap in the other door? Well, the ventilation is probably quite important, so I'd keep it. I would just plaster around it and put a vent cover over it to make it look tidy, you know. WG, was you talking about moisture and cracking? I don't know. I lose the thread sometimes. Hi, bye. We appreciate the effort you put in. Thank you, mate. Thank you very much. I do genuinely try my best. I am trying to. What's happening is, though, as my channel's sort of growing on YouTube, I'm sort of increasing my reach on Facebook and TikTok. And I try and make myself as available as possible, but I'm sort of getting overwhelmed because more and more people have got access to me because there's more and more people there, and I haven't sort of hid myself away from the internet, you know, so I'm quite easy to get hold of. But ultimately now it's sort of I just cannot get back to every message. It's just too much, you know, because it takes time to think. I want to give people the good advice, you know, the right way forward. And, you know, I don't want to say something and it cause them problems. So I'm trying not to say anything wrong because in my mind, there's certain situations where you can do something and it's not textbook, but it'll work. But it can't apply to every situation. So unless I can see it, unless I can see what they're talking about, I can't give them the best advice. Hence, I have to think and make sure I'm saying it that covers all the bases. And that's why I've come up with this WhatsApp group. So, like I say, if you know, if you would like me advice on anything a bit more in depth, or you want to get hold of me and I haven't quite covered your question properly, if you go in the description of this video, click on the little link. It basically, I've got to find a way of filtering people out that aren't really that, you know, because people will just ask you for the sake of asking, but they don't need the information. So if you're in the middle of doing a job and you genuinely need to know the information, then basically it filters all the people out that are just asking for the sake of asking, and the people that genuinely need help will get the help because you know you don't mind if I needed to know something and someone said, "Well, buy me a pint," then I'd quite happily do it because then I get the information. But then it weeds it all out, so I can concentrate on the guys that actually need help. If that makes sense. So I know, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to try and bullshit you. Yes, it's nice for me because I get a pint out of it. You know, I get £6 a week out of it, so it's nice for me because I actually get some money for the effort that I put in because it consumes a lot of time. Is the truth. But it also frees up so much more time of me trying to answer so many messages and emails all the time because it just burns me. I don't. And obviously, you know, you reply to someone and then you think you've done them justice, but then they come back to you and then I can be I can. one person could send me 10 messages in the same day. And I've got like 30 other people sending me messages, and I'm trying to edit videos and I'm trying to do jobs, and I've got a family with 4 kids. So it's like, ah! But I don't want to be one of those guys that, no, 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 I don't answer the questions, you know. So it's just, I think it's the best way of filtering through all the people that genuinely want help. And we'll always do these lives. So if you don't want to buy me a pint, then you're more than welcome to jump on the live, because I quite happily talk to you all Sunday. Um, Tommy, looking forward to the Lime content. Appreciate all your help and knowledge. Yeah, Tommy, when we do the Lime stuff, I'm gonna go through the whole process. I've got a friend in Ireland, and we are gonna go and get some limestone and burn it. I'm gonna show you the whole process. So, are you gonna get burnt lime or kibble? So when you get a piece of limestone out of the ground, like, you can literally dig it up, okay? And then you put it in a furnace. I'm going to show you how we're going to heat it up to a certain temperature. When it comes out, all the moisture's gone off it. And then you put a certain amount of water on the burnt lime, and it's just going to, the rock just falls apart, okay? And it goes into hydrated lime. Now, if you keep putting more and more water on, it becomes slaked lime. Now, when you pull the limestone out the ground, if it's contaminated with clay or anything like that, that's how you end up with your hydraulic limes, because the clay actually causes the lime to set even underwater. Whereas a slaked lime, a hydrated lime, or a slaked lime, they won't set. They need the carbon in the air, the carbonation of the air to cause them to set. I'll have to brush up on my bloody words and what I'm using, what have you. But that's the difference between hydraulic and hydrated lime, basically, is impurities. And it's interesting to see how it basically is just the rock that gets burnt that just creates pure lime. So, but we'll do all this. It's going to be interesting stuff anyway, I think, for a lot of people. It's interesting for me because it's been a long time since I've sort of gone over this, and I'll have to brush up on me. I'll have to brush up on it myself a little bit just to get all the words right. You know, when you know something in theory, but you've got to make sure I say it correctly. There's goddamn on the internet, there's people that are ready to pull you. If you get one word wrong, they are waiting to attack. So I'll have to spruce up on it first. But you don't need to worry about doing all that. You can literally just buy this bagged, ready to go, you know. Or you can buy slaked lime, you can buy quick lime, hot lime. It's all the same stuff basically. You add water to it, and it they actually use lime a lot in the production of steel, because when you add water to uh, quick lime or hot lime, it's going to create temperature till it up to about 300 degrees, and they use this in the production of steel just because it generates so much heat. So it's quite interesting. It's like doing a little science experiment. And if you want to cut all that out and not have to sort of risk burning yourself, you can just buy hydrated lime in bags. But you don't want to get old stuff. You want to get the freshest that you possibly can. Or you can buy slaked lime. There's companies all over the country, and you can buy it ready slaked, and it comes sort of wet, you know, ready to go. And you just add sand and a bit more water and mix it up how you want it. We'll do all this. It's all interesting stuff. It's just not in my area. It just isn't very common. You know, I don't get asked to do lime work hardly ever. So it is what it is. I might have to travel. There's a lot of lime stuff going on Ireland all the time. So I'll probably travel over there and spend a bit of time with my mate and make all the videos. I don't know if I do all the videos, you know. There's quite a few things to cover. We might just do one in-depth video that's about 5 hours long, and I'll just do the best I can at explaining everything about lime. And then if you want to sit there and be bored to death, then you can enjoy it. Jose16, hello Kirk. Just wondering if you ever done any micro cement work, legend. No, I haven't. I haven't done any micro cement work at all, mate. I sort of put that in the same class as like Venetian plastering, marble plastering. And with that, I only did a little tiny little bit for myself. I just bought some and did a bit, and that was the end of it. So, but look, mate, if you wanted to get into that, if that's what you want, the route you want to go down, then if you've got the skills from plastering, it is a very, very easy leap to make because the skills of using your handboard and trowel, ultimately, if you can do that, it's the same with a different process. So you haven't got to learn new skills, you've just got to learn a different process. So if you can drive in England, you can drive in Germany. You've just got to learn the rules of the road. You know what I'm trying to say? So if you can plaster with normal plaster, you can do micro cement. You've just got to learn the different process. And here's the interesting thing. Whoever you buy it from, whatever company you buy it from, will tell you exactly how to do it. So don't be scared to try new things. And I'll make a video on it for you, but I'll only be learning the process the same as you. Ultimately, just go and get some of the stuff and ask them to help you. They'll have a technical department, the salesman will be able to help you, the rep, whatever. And just go for it. You'll be fine, mate. You'll be fine. It's not it's ultimately it's a thin little layer going on stuff, so it's not going to be difficult. It's just learning what primer, what micro cement, the different ways of getting the effects, and how to seal it if it needs sealing. I don't know if it needs sealing. It might do, it might not, depending on where you put it, maybe. Mike Slater, hi Kurt, looking forward to getting on one of your plastering days. Had a go today with Easy Fill 60. Yep, defo need guidance. Okay. Well, we just talked about this before, so we're going to do one of these plastering days very, very soon. By the end of this week coming, we will have a date when the next one's coming up, and I'll try and give people a little bit longer, maybe a month, so you've got time to schedule it in if you want to jump on, you know. Michael Dix, bloody hell, where have you been, Dixie? Haven't seen a message from you for ages. Where have I gone here now? Right, okay. So, it's 11:30. I'm going to read these comments fast, and then I'm going. Only because I'm going to spend half an hour with my missus before I go to bed. So, before we go to bed, we're not in separate beds. You know what I'm trying to say. Before it's time for sleep, I would like to go and speak to the wife, just for a bit, you know, just so that she's got time to get all the stuff that she wants to tell me. Right, DC619 treble 1. What is the trick to getting your plaster drying a uniform colour, not leaving streaks? Okay, so the streaks in your plaster are due to one of two things. It could be that when you're putting your first coat on, you've got unevenness, lines in the work, and then when you're putting your second coat on, because the first coat is going to be thicker in parts and thinner in parts because of the unevenness, you are getting a difference in colour once it's dry. So just so you know, the colour doesn't matter whatsoever. As long as the stuff's bloody flat, that's all that matters. Okay, so if you look at some of my work when it's finished, I will have variations of colour in it. It doesn't make a difference. But if you want to get rid of it, if it's important to you, it's not to me. I don't care. As long as it's flat, I don't give a monkeys. But if it's important to you, put your first coat on, give your first coat a flattening, second coat it, and you should find that you will get then a lot of a nicer colour texture because you flattened your first coating. Now, what might be happening is you might be getting streaks, and they might not be because of the first and second coat. It might be because you're filling it with fat, which is coming from the trowel and up the second coat because you haven't got it on flat enough. So try and put it on flatter. And if you're struggling with that, and I don't want to advise this, but it does work. If you really wanted that nice solid block of colour, sponge float it, because the sponge float is going to take everything down to one level surface, and there won't be any filling out of fat to be done. Okay. Now, I'm not a sponge floater, and I wouldn't recommend it for anybody because it's an extra step in the process. I've got nothing against it as long as you do it early on. If you do it late on, then you are putting a weak layer of plaster on the surface, which will be dusty and break up easy. So as long as you do it sort of second coat, flattening, sponge, that's okay. Second coat, flattening, third wet trowel, sponge, polish. No, it's too late down. It's too late. You're bringing fat up on the surface when the stuff's already started to set. Sponge it earlier. So sort of like, first coat, flatten, second coat, sponge, or first coat, flatten, second coat, flatten, sponge. That's fine because it's early on in the set. And then you'll get that good solid block of colour. But mate, it's an extra step that you're taking, and it doesn't change the outcome of the job once it's painted. Okay, it just looks nice for the photograph. Uh, Adam Grace. Okay, yeah, let's do these comments fast. Sorry, Adam Grace. Hi, mate. I hope you're well. Love the vids. Please keep them coming. Learn a fair bit from you, Adam. I've got no intention of stopping just yet, mate. Once all the stuff that is in there is on video, I'm done. But I'm quite enjoying the journey so far, and it's a lovely community. So, we're just going to carry on for the time being. I am your dog, lol. That's a hell of a name. Just joined the stream to thank you for your videos. Going to give a go at skimming in a few weeks, mate. You know where I am in the meantime. Any questions, feel free to jump on the lives or click the link in the description, and I'll help you as much as I can. Brothers, do you ever see yourself going into teaching in a trade school full time? You're an absolute wealth of knowledge and seem to enjoy sharing and teaching tips and tricks. I do enjoy sharing my knowledge, mate. I'm not one of these sort of guys that want to be like, no, I don't want no one else to know. What's funny is, I'll tell you something funny. I've noticed that I will explain things in such a way that when it's been like Chinese whispers and it's come back to me, I know that it started with me. If that makes sense. Because I've been quite present on the internet for a long time, on Facebook groups and stuff since I was a young, you know, since Facebook come out. I've seen what gets said in plastering communities, and I've sort of known where the group mindset is. So, here's what I'm trying to say. I know that when I give sort of advice out to an audience, that it's come back to me, and I've had some young kid telling me, "Nah, you shouldn't do that. You should do this." Da, 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 da," and he's giving me my advice back, and I'm like, bloody hell, it's done full circle. I'm getting my own shit coming back at me. So that makes it quite funny because I'm like, oh, what am I doing, man? Flipping heck. But anyway, I do genuinely enjoy it. I think it's nice for me because I've always been a nerd. When I say a nerd, I've always loved, if I want to do something, I love doing it 110%. If I'm going to start a YouTube channel, I don't want to do a YouTube channel. I want to do the best plastering YouTube channel. If I'm going to make content, I want to make it the best I possibly can. I don't think that the stuff I do is good by any way, shape, or form, but it's the best I can do. I want to do the best job I possibly can. I've done that with plastering, and I've literally studied the arse out the subject, and I love it. And it's nice. It's nice when there's something you're so passionate about that you can talk about and other people are interested in. And you've got an interest and you want to tell the world about it and no one wants to hear it, then, if I was a bloody Tiddlywinks champion and I wanted to tell you about strategies of how to win Tiddlywinks, you wouldn't want to bugger off. So it's nice that the thing that I'm passionate about, all my sort of learning and studying that I've done over the years and practical applications and testing and trying things, and I've been obsessed with it. It's nice that I can talk about it, and you guys like to hear about it. It feels like, I've got someone to talk to, because trust me, earning doors is sick to the back teeth of listening about bloody plastering. So, um, but yeah, college. I've actually been invited to go and do a talk at a college soon, so I'll let you know how it gets on. Because what's interesting is, it's nice when I do the videos, because people that watch the videos want to watch the videos. Yeah, we get trolls. I enjoy them. I don't. You get trolls in life. I go to the pub and get idiots with the banter, so it's good fun anyway. Before YouTube, so I don't mind the trolls as such. But what I'm thinking is, when I make a video on how to do something, the people that watch it and that want to get the knowledge and the information, they enjoy it. In college, I don't know if it'd be like going into school where 90% of the people in there don't want to know. They're just there because they've got to do something. So now, if you want to leave school, if you haven't got an apprenticeship, then you've got to stay for further education. So there's going to be tons of kids that are in college doing apprenticeships that see it like school. And would I want to be trying to teach people in an environment with kids that don't want to know? That's something that I'd probably struggle with, because I think I don't want to waste my time. I could be making more money doing something else. So if I'm here doing it, then I want to at least feel appreciated. So that might be a struggle. That's ultimately something that's probably holding me off from doing college work. Um, we'll see how things pan out. Maybe I could do better with the YouTube channel. I mean, in college, you've only got them for 1 day a week, and you've got them for, I don't know, a couple of hours of attention span. Whereas the ones that want to learn, any kids in college, I guarantee any kids in college now, here's my finger on it. Any kids in college that want to learn, that genuinely want to learn, will already know who I am. They'll already be watching my videos. Are you going to bed? I'm coming now. Wait for me. Put your nightie on. You little rascal. I've got to go. I've been summoned. Yeah, so the kids that want to learn will already know who I am. I guarantee you that, because if they're anything like me, when I sort of went to college and I wanted to learn something, I would ultimately I was buying books and I was watching videos at the same time. So I'm thinking, yeah, maybe it'd be nice to go and do stuff in college, but I'm sure that I'm already teaching the kids that are in college, the ones that want to learn. If that makes sense. Might be wrong. Just my thinking. Jamie 321, do me a favour and let the plasterers know I have to go around with a hammer and bolster half the time before doing skirting boards. I'd appreciate not having to do that. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, mate. Tell me about it. I do try and inspire guys to be as neat as possible. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself sometimes. I try never to do it though. I always think I can't. You say too many swear words on a live, and your live gets me demonetized. Stuff it. Who cares? Who cares about the money? My favorite phrase is, "Don't fuck the next guy." So when you're doing work, do not fuck the next guy over. Always leave the job nice for the next person. The next person is going to be your best person to recommend you. If every job you do, you think of the next guy coming in, then that guy is going to be the one that gets you more work. Because when he goes to the next job and they're like, "Oh, do you know a plasterer?" Yeah, him. He cleans all the boxes out the mint. I've got no plaster in the way. He keeps the bottoms of the walls perfect. He cleans his door casings off. He cleans the floor up. There's no mess anywhere. These guys in the trade will continuously get you work if you leave a nice job for them. But the mindset is, doesn't do nothing for me, so why should I do it for him? Sometimes you have to be the one that does it first. It's like when people ask you for a pay rise, you get young lads and they want more money. You're like, well, do more work, do more, and I can reward you for it. Like, you want me to pay you more money and hope that you work more? Like, make yourself irreplaceable. That's what you want to do. For everyone in the trade, this has been my mindset. Make yourself irreplaceable, and then you can charge what you want. So currently, let's just say, for instance, you're starting out, you're a young apprentice, and you're on £80 a day, whatever. Who knows? Doesn't matter, right? Make a number up. Be the best you can possibly be. Do absolutely everything on time, punctual, polite, immaculate. Make it so that then guys depend on you and they can't do without you. And once you are doing more than what you're getting paid for, then ask for a pay rise. And then if they don't pay you more, then leave. And then they're snookered, aren't they? Do more. Don't do exactly the same as what you've always been doing and then go, well, if you pay me more money, I'll do more. What's the guarantee for them? I'm not going to up anybody's wages if they're not doing more than what they're getting paid for. But then, that said, if someone is high quality, I'll pay them what they want to never lose them. And that's more than the average wages, and that's more than the going rate. If somebody is mint, causes you no problems. If you had a plasterer that you could send to jobs, left it immaculate, was super polite with the customers, the work was perfect, they turned up on time, they caused you no problems whatsoever, that man is worth double, two of every other plasterer. So if your average plasterer's a £200 a day man or 250, this man's now worth 400 quid because he's causes you no hassle. That's the problem. And I'll tell you another thing as well, which so many people struggle with. And if I can give you one bit of advice, if you guys, any of you guys are in the trade that are watching this live now, answer your bloody phone. Pick the phone up. When that rings, if you want more work, answer that within 4 rings. That is the biggest thing that loses your work, not answering it. And you go, oh, I'll get back to them later. If somebody is trying to get hold of a tradesman, it's different for me now because I get bombarded and I'm not trying to get more work. So, don't hold me accountable to me own advice. But if somebody is after a job doing and they've set out some time to call a tradesman and they ring you and you don't answer the phone, they're not waiting for you to get back to them because you might not. And this could take days and days and days if they did that with every person. They're going to ring you, you don't answer, they're going to ring somebody else. And the person that answers the phone is going to get the job. So this is my best bit of advice for you. And this is the sort of stuff that I teach in my sales and marketing course. If somebody rings you, even if you're mad busy, hello? Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Listen, I can't talk now. I'm right in the middle of plastering. Can you please send me a text message with your name and address on it and a brief description of what you want doing? And when I get home, I'll go in my diary, I'll look at my next available slot to come and have a look at the job for you, and I'll text you back tonight at 7 p.m. sharp with a date that I can come and see you. Okay, yeah, I'll wait for your message. Thanks for your call. Yeah, I'll wait for your message. Speak to you soon. Bye bye. Bye bye. Done. Right? You're gonna get a text message on your phone, and you've told them I'm going to text you back at 7 p.m. sharp. Why is that important? Because punctuality. The amount of people that get let down, messed around. Someone says I'll phone you back and they don't bother. Someone says I'll turn up on this time and then a half an hour late. Blah blah blah. What you've just done is you've told the customer, send me your details. I'm going to get you all your information off you. I'm going to text you back at 7 p.m. sharp. They're going to send you a message. You'll go home at 5 o'clock. You'll open your diary and you go, right, okay, the next time I can go and see her is, I'm looking at a job on Wednesday, looking at a job on Thursday. Oh, I can go Friday before I go for the pint. Right, Friday. Text Mrs. Jones. I will be with you Friday between, don't say a time, give yourself a space. I'll be with you between 5 and 6 because you're gonna finish work at 4, 5 o'clock, so you'll be able to just drive straight to her house and have a look at the job. I'll be with you between 5 and 6. on Friday, the 23rd or whatever, blah, 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 to come and take a look at the job for you. If that's not convenient, please let me know. See you then. Kurt the plasterer. Schedule send. Don't hit send. Schedule send. Schedule the message for 7 p.m. So at 7 p.m. sharp, she'll get the message off you. So straight away, she's thinking, bloody hell, this guy's on the ball. He said to me 7 p.m. sharp. Because when you say to someone, I'll message at 7 p.m. sharp, it sticks in the mind, or 6 p.m. Or when you say that, though, I'll message you back at that time, sticks in the mind. You've just done that. So straight away, they're thinking, flipping at this guy, he's on the ball. And he's got back to me and he answered the phone. I guarantee you will start closing the deal. You will start getting more jobs simply because you've answered the phone for the start. That's massive because go and ring a mechanic tomorrow. See if you can phone a mechanic tomorrow. See if you can phone a bloody painter and decorator or a plumber or a joiner. You just try and phone someone and you will see what I'm talking about. Nobody answers the phone and it's stressful. And then people don't get back to you. So when someone says to you, send me your information and I'll get back to you, and you think, oh, okay, yeah, well, I'll do it. And then they get back to you exactly the time they say. You might have 5 or 6 people that you're going to message. You'll be the only one that does exactly what he's going to say, and it will stand out like a sore thumb. And you might be 100 or 200 or 300, I don't know the size of the job. You might be the most expensive one, but they go, do you know what? It's not the money, it's the hassle. This guy, we know we can count on him. We know we can trust him. He answers the phone every time we ring him, and he does what he says on time. Just give him the job because I can't be bothered with all the nonsense. Michael Dix. But when I'm flattening, it's peeling off. Why? Oh, we're there. Had a media wall the other day. So this is Michael Dix. Had a media wall the other day, pal. First coat went on lovely, set a little faster than normal. Was hot weather. Second coat went off really fast. Had to chase it, but when flattening, peeling off. Why? Sounds like it was drying out before it was setting. So more water. That probably was the problem. Could be that your trowel is not dead sharp either. So if you take your trowel, take the blade of your trowel. Oh, look at the state of these. Don't use these for an example. Take the blade. Look how rusty that is. This is an experiment, so don't worry about this, right? But take the blade of your trowel, right, and take a piece of paper and hold it up. And if you can just slice through the paper like a razor blade, then your trowel's sharp enough. And if you can't, then you know that your trowel's not worn in enough, and that'll cause it to peel. Look at this. See that there? Look at that there. You see what's missing here? Bit of it missing. Look at this one. Look at this one. Look at that. Look at that. So what's happened there is they're brand new trowels, them two, by the way. And to put a forced patina on the trowel, you can soak them in white vinegar and Coca-Cola, and it forces the metal to go black. You leave it in for a day or two, and when you take it out, a carbon steel trowel, the blade will be lovely and black, and you won't get rust on it. Now, what happens is, well, you will, but it'll wipe off and it'll be black underneath when you scrub it off. If you leave it in for about 2 or 3 weeks, that's what's going to happen to it. White vinegar and Coca-Cola will literally eat through metal. And that experiment proves it. So that I wasn't trying to do that, by the way. It was just to put them in to soak, and I forgot about them. And when I pulled them out, that's what they look like. So £100 down the Swanee, but these things I do for you guys, you see. Up the shells. What is the best way to cover lime cracks in plaster from being overworked? Don't want to have to knock it all off and start again. Can it be helped? Depends how long the lime's been on for. You could try getting a sponge float, flicking some water on it, and try and give it a good scouring, and that might get rid of it. It depends though. I don't know. I don't know how long your limes. If your lime's been on for maybe a week, you might get away with it. But if it's been longer than that, maybe I don't know. You might be best giving it a lime wash instead. Um, all depends on this. There's so many variables, mate. It's hard for me to give you an exact answer. Dam's TV. Hi, mate. Got some pink SPR. It seems to be pulling in more than normal SPR. Is this normal? No. Depends what you're going over. Make sure you're giving it a good, solid, thick coat. But it's hard because you might have used normal SPR going over paint, and then you're using the pink stuff on something else, and not the same. If you're going to test it, do a side by side test. If you're going to do a comparison, so our SPR is literally the strongest on the market, but you're only going to be able to compare that if you do them side by side tests. So SPR, you will get some suction if you're going over it when it's still tacky. You'll get suction unless you leave it to completely cure. And also, some people try and just dip it in and blast it out for miles, whereas you really want the thing to be a good, solid, thick coat. Pete Arnold. Oh, by the way, Dam's TV. Oh, guys, sorry. Just skipping past Dam's TV. By the way, Dam's TV is a flipping lovely bloke, and he's got a YouTube channel, a plastering YouTube channel. Now, old school plastering, if you like the style of plastering that I do, Dam's TV is a proper spread. This guy knows what he's doing. He's a gentleman. He's a funny guy. I would highly recommend, if you like my content, go and subscribe to Dam's TV as well. This guy's a top bloke, and you'll enjoy his videos as well. So yeah, give that guy a little sub. Go and watch some of his videos there. He's a fantastic spread. Pete Arnold. You go into a new build and you have loads of plaster popping off the screws that fix the plasterboard. It's nearly always around the room perimeters on the ceiling. So before the ceiling gets plastered. Yeah, what that's going to be is a little bit of movement, and maybe the screws aren't quite tight enough. So usually when you get screw pops, it's because the screws haven't sent all the way home. So you've got the plasterboard and the screws gone through, but the plasterboard isn't quite touching the joist, or it is, but it isn't squeezed into it. And then when there's a bit of vibration upstairs, that's what causes it. So I'll potentially make sure that whoever's screwing the boards up isn't going through the paper or just up to the paper. That's the only thing I can think of, really, mate, without seeing exactly what you're talking about. As I said, third and final plug. If you want to send me a picture, click on the link in the description here. Join me WhatsApp group for the price of a pint a week. If you don't mind buying me a pint once a week for me advice, we do video calls, messages, flipping video messages, picture messages, whatever you want. Jump on the phone with me. WhatsApp group. Click link in the description. I will help you as much as I possibly can, and that way it's easier because I can't get pictures off you on this. I mean, I'm not trying to. I am trying to plug it, but I'm trying to give you the best advice. But I can only go off the information that I'm trying to. What I imagine that you're going through. Does that make sense? Ragman. I'm not going to mention that bloody group again. But I am running shy on the Guinness, so bloody, they're all huddled round the candle in there trying to keep warm. So put your hand in your pocket, will you? Regan Moon Singer. No. Ragman Moon Singer. Bloody hell. The hard part of Lime is trying to learn about it when the people involved are constantly arguing with each other. This is the nightmare, mate. Welcome Welcome to the flipping nightmare of the lime nerds. So what you've got is right. There's people out there that have got a little bit of knowledge of plastering, and then they've gone along and they've seen some traditional buildings been sand and cemented on the outside, and they've seen the damage that it's caused. And putting cement on the outside of a building that was originally built of lime plaster, not should be built of lime, but was originally built of lime. The brickwork is soft, and when you put cement on the outside of the brickwork, and the cement is a good, strong mix, and there's moisture in the bricks, when it comes to wintertime, the bricks are going to expand a little bit and contract when it thaws out, yeah? Just only ever so slightly. Over years of this, the bricks, the faces of the bricks are going to start falling apart. And this does the same thing if the mortar beds have been pointed with sand and cement, the mortar will not budge an inch because it's solid cement. Whereas with lime, it's softer. Okay, lime walls, a wall built out of lime mortar, you could literally bloody, if you spend enough time, push it over. You could knock through it. You can scrape through it with a lollipop stick. It's very, very soft mortar, which is good for very, very soft bricks, because as they expand and contract with the thaw cycle, it all moves together. When you start introducing cement, they don't budge. So as a brick's trying to expand, if there's lime mortar in there, it's got no other way to go but forward. So it pops the face off the bricks, and that's when you start getting all the brickwork falling apart. And they're saying the cement's eating the brickwork. Cement isn't hungry. It's not eating your bricks. It's not eating into them. Cement will corrode copper, not bricks. Okay. In fact, Portland cement is bloody made from limestone. It's made from the same stuff. It's just manufactured slightly different. So what you get is it's a lot of a harder material, and that's why it starts to break the face of the bricks off. Now, when people that know a little bit see that, all of a sudden they start hating cement. Like, cement, it should be lime, it should be able to breathe. And then people that don't fully understand it learn down one little avenue. Oh, you should be using, they'll learn you should be using NHL outside, right? So natural hydronic lime sets even in damp conditions. So it's better to use an NHL outside because it'll set. Whereas if you use the hydrated lime outside, it won't set. If it's wintertime, it dries by carbonation in the air, right? Unless you use a pozzolan. I can't bloody pronounce it. But anyway, you can add stuff to the fly ash. You can use wood ash. You can use all different things, and it will cause the hydrated lime to set. But if you don't go down that route and you use a hydraulic lime outside, so then you get guys going, "Oh, it's got to be hydraulic outside." It hasn't. You've just got to add an additive, right? Whereas hydraulic lime basically is lime, but with an additive, because it's got an impurity, so it's already been created with an additive, if that makes sense. So there's guys that get so wrapped up in like, it's got to be this, it's got to be that, inside it should be this, and ultimately it's just going to be easier if someone just comes along and just explains the whole scope of it all. Now I know, because I even get this with plastering videos, simple I'll make a video on how to skim a wall, and I will have lads that are 2 years out the time telling me I'm wrong, and it should be done like this and it should be done, because the thing with plastering, there's 20 ways of doing everything. There's multiple ways to get the same results all the time, and the guys that do it their way all the time think that their way is the only way, right? So even with skimming, I get young kids telling me I'm wrong. Now, when I start doing the lime videos, I'm going to do my best to explain the whole scope of it so you fully understand how it's made, how you get all the different types of lime, and the different ways you can use lime. I know it's going to open a can of worms because I'm going to get all these bloody little buggers attacking me. Right? Because that's what it's like in the community, because you get guys that know a little bit about one thing, and this guy knows a little bit about this thing, and then they're both arguing, not realizing that they're both right. So might just turn the comments off. Might just be easier. And I can just say what I want and they can't say nothing back. We'll see anyway. Pete Arnold, do you suggest the best product to stop off screw heads pre-plaster? No, Pete, we just literally skim over them. What you could do is, if you were having anxiety over it, is put some scrim over the heads, and then we just skim over with board finish or multi-finish, mate, you know. Unless you're taping jointing, maybe you'd use something different, but for me, I would just literally just skim straight over them. And as I said, some guys like to put some scrim, some plasterer's fiber tape over it, and away you go. Jack Henderson, I'm 19, just getting into the trade, taking over from my father who was retiring from lime plaster. We use our own homemade mixed lime using hemp perlite for insulated plaster. Fair play to you, Jack. Good stuff. So, Jack, I'm going to hit you up because when I start doing some lime plaster, I want some good quality slaked lime. So, do me a favor now, mate. Get some kibble, right? And make me a few drums up, get it all ready for me. And when the time comes, I'll come down and buy it off you, if you wouldn't mind, mate. The invested plasterer. Hey, Kirk, have you used the Wickamol high impact lime product? I thought the high impact was Limelight. Sure, Limelight have got a high impact finish. I might be right. You might be right, sorry. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, I've used the Wickamol. I used it on a job last week. It's quite good stuff, but it's set very, very fast. Yes, I personally haven't used the Wickamol stuff, mate, no. Jack Anderson, it's just so hard to find information online that doesn't conflict with each other. Right, I know. What's funny is a lot of these guys that are the lime nerds think that it cures, it fixes everything. If you just lime plaster everything, then you've got no problems ever again, you know. And it'd be wonderful if that was the case. If you have a look, Julius Caesar, right? We're gonna go back in history now. Julius Caesar was basically around Jesus' time. Yeah. Now I know this is bizarre because you think, bloody hell, you're not going to get any information from then, but you'd be incorrect. There was an engineer, a military guy, who was also a building engineer called Vitruvius. Now you can Google this guy. Just put into Google Vitruvius, okay, or Julius Caesar's building engineer. And Vitruvius wrote 10 books on classical architecture. Now, don't worry about all that. But one of the books, I think it was in his fourth book, he explained about if your lime plaster is getting damp, that you should use a cavity in the wall. Okay. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because even back then, 2,000 years ago, when the Greeks were inventing the flipping classical architecture that we see nowadays, if you go into Dublin, Liverpool, London, and look at any of the Victorian buildings, and they've got the columns and the beautiful cornice work and all the rest of it, that all comes from the Greeks and the Roman eras, right? That's when all that was designed. So let's just go back to them, the original guys. They were lime plastering, and we think about them living in mud huts, mate. They weren't. They had some gorgeous buildings. You imagine these temples that you see plastered white lime inside, laced with gold and all sorts of art. Oh, they weren't in little straw mud huts, trust me. That's it's the way it's envisioned on the movies. But look at some of the buildings that are still stood and try and imagine them in the former glory. And Vitruvius was saying that even then, if a lime wall is saturated, then it should have a cavity with a good breeze blowing through, or before the lime plaster goes on, it should be coated with bitumen. Now, look what we do now. When you tank a cellar, get a coat of bitumen on it first. We haven't really come out with any new stuff. We're just recycling the old stuff. Then we tried some new stuff, and then we're figuring out the old stuff is actually a better way. But it just goes to show that Lime isn't a one-stop shop, because back then, when Vitruvius was writing his bloody 10 books, they didn't have board finish and multi-finish, did they? So he wasn't talking about us with our gypsum-based plasters. He was genuinely talking about lime plaster at the time. Although they did have cements and stuff, but the majority of the work was done in lime work. But you'd have to read. You'll see. If you're a nerd, get the books and have a look, because they've all been translated into a modern language, so they are easy to read. Adam Beck's plastering. He's back now, Kirk. How's it going? Oh, do you know what? I'm trying to get inside my house. My missus will be snoring. By the time I get in there, she looked quite fit before. I was thinking, ooh, I'll have a little bite of that later. I was sat there eating my Sunday roast, thinking I'm flipping to get a little bite of her at the same time. She looks quite tasty. And I'm thinking now, by the time I get in there, she's going to look like a... So I won't be getting a look in, will I? Because of you guys. Poo pot. Cheers, Kirk. When I read the back, I felt like slitting my wrists. It was talking about gauging water and to reduce water quantity by 20%. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, there's two ways of adding it. There's two ways. You could, when you're mixing up, you could just add it to the gauging water. So if you had a lad on a cement mixer mixing all day sand and cement, what you'd do is get your 45-gallon drum, measure out how many litres of water in there, and you would add it to the gauging water. So it's done then. And then when it says reduce the amount of water by 20%, because the waterproof acts like a plasticizer, it actually helps the stuff wet up. So what you'd be doing is, rather than saying to him, add a full 5-litre bucket of water to the cement mixer and then put all your ingredients in your sand and cement, you would say only add, 4.5 litres or whatever, I'm assuming that you're mixing it like me and you wouldn't do it like that. So I will get a mixing tub, use me whisk, and I will put in as much water as is needed, and I'll do it by weight of cement. So I'm thinking 3 bags of sand, 1 bag of cement, that's 100 kilograms. It takes 500 mil, I think, is the maximum for that brand, if I remember correctly. I might be slightly wrong, so just check it. 500 mil to 50 kilograms of cement. I'm doing it a dry mix, not with the water added. Yeah, so it's 50 kilograms dry, right, in my mind. So I'm thinking 50 kilograms dry, it's 500 mil. So 100 kilograms of cement mixed up is going to be 1 litre of waterproofer. So I will add the 1 litre of waterproofer, 3 bags of sand, 1 bag of cement, add your water, mix it up, job done. Okay, you've got the maximum amount. I thought that was have you ever heard a cat? I've got a cat outside crying. Sounds like a kid. Sounds like a little... I thought it was my little lad come out the back door whinging. Bloody cat. Jay in the mix. Good to see you in Weatherspoons last week. Yeah, and you. Cheers, Jay. You're a gentleman. Poobot, sorry for stalking you for all these years. Mate, it's not bloody... I need people like you. Don't feel like you're stalking me whatsoever. If it wasn't for people that watch me stuff, then oh yeah, I would still make the videos for me lad, but it wouldn't be as much fun as what it is for me doing it when I've got a community. It's nice seeing regular people, and it's also nice because the views, I get paid for it, don't I? I'm not going to try and pretend I don't. I get paid off YouTube only because of you guys. I'd still make the videos if it didn't. But I tell you what, it's flipping nice that I do. Takes the pressure off a little bit. Bottleneck. Oh, I can't keep my eyes open. Big love, brother. Only do what you can do, buddy. Any help is better than none. Take it easy, mate. Damn TV. Hi, I have 4 kids. Must be something in the plaster. Yeah. It's not something in the plaster. Something in your pecker. That's what's causing the problem. too much lead in the pencil, mate. Oh, where's it gone now? Right. I'm so behind with the comments. Oh, guys, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm so behind on the comments. I'm never going to get to the end of these, and I've got to go in. Um, I've got to go. I don't. I flipping hate missing comments out, but I just genuinely. I've just looked down. I'm miles behind, and I've got to, I've got to go in. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If there's anybody watching now and you're specifically waiting for an answer right now, I will answer any comments that come through now until I've got about that much Guinness left in there until I've drank that. So, right, if you need a specific answer for anything, please write it again. And for anybody that I haven't read the comments, I'm genuinely sorry, but I'm just running out of time. I'm running out of I'm running out of energy before I fall asleep. So, mm. Brothers, go quick. She might still be awake. Don't worry, mate. I'm going to wake her up when I get in. I'm saying this. There's probably women on this now watching, thinking, "Oh, he's a bloody sleaze back." Got to keep the manager alive, haven't we? Right. Coded. I'm going to start a job and it needs skimming. Should I fill the hole with multi-finish? I don't know what hole you're filling, mate. If it is on a internal wall or a house with a cavity, you'd be better off filling holes with hard wall or bonding coat and skimming over it because it won't sag as much out the hole. If you've got a house that has got no cavity, solid 9-inch wall, and you're going to skim over it with multi-finish, you would be better off filling the hole out first with sand and cement with waterproofer, let it set, cure, and dry out. Tavern, we recently bought a property that has kind of smooth walls. We plan to extend the property in 5 years, which will involve knocking a bit of the plastered walls down. What advice would you give with regard? Making an expensive yet effective touch up for now. Okay. What do I would. Yeah, in the meantime, I wouldn't pay to have them all plastered. I would probably just go and get some fine. You go and get some easy fill, okay? In the meantime, if you're not a plasterer, go and get some easy fill. Smear it on your walls, whatever you want to touch up for the time being, and you can sand it down flat in the meantime. And then once your extension's done and the plasterers are in, they can make a nice job for you. Coated or use like polyfiller. Polyfiller can be a bit of a pain, mate, because it can shrink and stuff. It all comes down when you're filling holes in walls to whether you have got a cavity in a solid wall. You don't want to put a gypsum-based product onto bare brick in a solid 9-inch wall on an external wall because it'll do a thing called wicking, where the moisture will slowly come to the plaster and the plaster will start drawing it through, and you'll have a little damp patch. So if you're on a solid 9-inch wall, sand and cement waterproofer, or a lime renovating plaster. Anything else, you can pretty much do whatever you want. But my go-to method for anything else would be bonding coat or drywall adhesive to fill the hole up, and then finishing plaster to skim over it. John Alban, just checking this in, Kirk. Chucking this in, Kirk. The lad doing the filming does a great job, especially on the bead video. John, I'll tell you something interesting, right? My missus filmed the beading video. The lad films everything else, but the beading video, I actually had my missus film that how long ago? A little while ago when I was just like, do you know what? I haven't actually addressed how to do the skin beads, so we'll do that. So she filmed that, but she's used to filming my kids on the horses. So we keep horses, and my daughters go like cross country competing or show jumping, and my missus is used to following the camera, and she zooms in all the time and zooms out. So I didn't want her to do that because I do it when I'm editing and zooming in and out, but she just did it herself without me even knowing. So when I got the footage on my laptop, it was already done. So, yeah, she's quite good, to be fair. I just couldn't have it in work all day, though, because she's nuts. Um, Colleen Casey, go to bed, you nice, funny man. Colleen, thanks. Do you know, I've sort of forgot there was a lady still in here. So, Colleen, for everything I've said about my missus, on behalf of men, we're not pests. You know, I'm just sort of just saying it as it is. I haven't come across as a bit sleazy. She's probably sometimes she watches in there, my missus, so I get a little bit of an earache when I go, and she's like, "Well, why are you saying that to him? Do you think you're a bloody perfect?" I say, "Babe, I love the bones of you. I'm proud to tell people that I want to come in and bite you on the arse cheek." Blue Horizon. Big man, the pebble dash at the back of her extended kitchen seems to be blown. What can I do to help? And I'm guessing cement render. Yeah, or you could dash it again. You could dash it again. Yeah, it's hard to say, mate. One thing with dash, it's very, very difficult to patch. So if you're going to take it off, just be prepared to take the lot off, because if you try and patch it, it will stand out like a sore thumb. You can get away with getting a good texture match if you're going to paint it, but it's almost impossible to get a colour match. It will always stand out, you know. Brothers, you'll be whispering lime plastering nonsense in her ear if you keep answering these questions. I've told you, another swig and I'll be gone. Matt Holden, with old lath and plaster ceilings, would you rip it down and overboard it? Or overboard it? Some of the ceilings is blown from some of the keys coming loose from the previous owner's loft work. I usually try and overboard it. Few reasons: less mess, less work, more sound insulation, more thermal insulation, and more soundproofing if it's left up. Far more benefits to leaving it where it is than what there is taking it out. So that'll be my advice. Unless it's that ruined that it's going to ruin the shape of the next ceiling. You know, Tom, how do you know which the thinnest option for the Kirk, do you know which the thinnest option for external render on block work is? As in how thick the total thickness will be of all layers. Yeah, use a thin coat system. Thin coat render. 6mm beads, and it'll be a base coat, mesh, base coat again over the top of it whilst it's still wet, spatulaed, primed, and a thin coat top, which is basically like paint with an aggregate, and that can go on 6mm. That is what they want you to put it on at. It'll probably go on thinner than that, although it's not supposed to. But in the real world, you know, K-Ren's supposed to go on like 15mm. You know, 90% of the fellas are putting it on like 10mm thick. This stuff's meant to go on 6mm, which it will round the beads, but chances are, you know, in the middle of the walls, it might only be 4mm. So you're literally looking at about 2 coats of skin. All right, that's literally how thick it's going to be. It's going to be like overall thickness like that. Where's my feet? There. Be like that thick. Thin coat render. Okay. It comes bagged base coat. Base coat comes in bags. Just so you know you got the right stuff. Base coat comes in bags. It'll be base coat with mesh. And then it'll be a tub of primer, which is basically paint. And then it'll be the top coat, which is basically paint with aggregate in it. All right. Thin coat render. Coded, sorry, let me be more specific. I'm doing a small bathroom and there's a hole where the towel rack used to be. I don't know if I should fill it with filler before skimming or fill everything with plaster. I see what you're saying, yeah. Yeah, just push some finish into it and skim away. That'll be fine. John Altman, she's good. Yeah, John's looking after the KY question. Could I sell my small Venetian boards for an art piece? Could be really nice, I think. Yeah, you've just got to find someone to buy them. Put them on eBay, see what happens. Blue Horizon, thanks. Poopot, give the channel a like, guys. Oh, you're a legend. Cheers, my mate. KY, also, I'm working on a house and there's a brick foundation internal wall. I've been ripping off the plaster with a drill and there's newspaper in the wall from 1975 with plaster on it. Yeah, them buggers stuffed everything with newspaper back in them days, mate. That's how they used to fix things, newspaper and plaster. Tom, awesome. Cheers, Kurt. Would you recommend the eco-ren stuff like your last video that you put up? Yeah. So, guys, the eco rend, that wasn't a sponsored video. That was genuinely the truth. You'll know it's a sponsored video. Trust me. I'll be like, there's a link in the description. Da, 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 da. Eco rend genuinely is lovely stuff to work with, and I'm not getting paid to say that. I mean, I'll quite happily go and use K Ren tomorrow, but eco ren's nicer. Trust me, it is nicer to use. Adam 2006. If it wasn't a plasterer, what other job would you have liked to have done? I like heavy machinery. Sounds sad, doesn't it? Like I'm a little boy, like I like trains and stuff, but I genuinely like heavy machine. I love farming equipment. I would, if I could pick any job now, I'd love to be um, on a cat bloody bulldozer or on a big farm tractor, plowing or something. I'd love it. That's but it's what pays the bills. So what pays the better money? Um, I'll tell you what I like watching. Just to give it a little insight to me. When I'm chilling out, I will quite often go on a YouTube channel, and the channel that I watch is called Combat Crew. Kombat, Combat Crew, right? And it's a Russian channel. Now, it's not because I like the Russians or anything. I've not, it's not like a national thing. Although I've got nothing against Russians either, but it just come up one time, and it's basically what I like about the Russians is the men are still sort of what I class as men. So when I say that, this guy is out in the middle of nowhere in the outback. Imagine the outback in Russia. There's nothing. Hundreds and hundreds of miles. There's nothing. And this guy goes and gets old Soviet machinery. The big old trucks and the big cranes and all this. And he brings them back to life. He gets them started, and then he's messing around in them. And him and his mates go out and they're in the swamps and all sorts, and they get the thing stuck, and the prop shaft snaps. And what they do is they don't like phone the AA or call the dad. They go off and they come back with all the welding gear, and they'll be in the swamp up to here, welding prop shafts underneath, and then they've got cranes with ropes and chains dragging them out. And I like all that sort of stuff. So, it just relaxes me. I can switch off and that's what I enjoy watching. So if I could do another job with that sort of stuff, I'd probably do that. Uh, Dominic Hepworth, do you need to double board an MF sealant? No, you don't need to. It is specified usually for soundproofing and fireproofing on some jobs, but not all jobs. So, done tons and tons of MF sealants when I used to work on building sites, and we put one skin of 15mm sound block board in apartments, flats, 2-story flats. And that's all they ever used to get. So, no. Who Gadam? Gadam. Who Gadam? Yeah, I think I'm saying it right. Any idea how to apply wattle and daub? Yeah, basically the wattle is basically your lath and your daub is your plaster. So it's imagine getting a weaved stick fence and you're gonna slap the bloody stuff on. So and try your best to make it smooth. It's I don't think anybody's got an idea how to apply it, mate. You've just got to try your best to stick it on. Keep your tools wet so it sticks to the bloody wattle more than what it does to your tools. Tom, yeah, definitely could tell it wasn't a sponsored paid vid. Yeah, and the other thing is as well, Tom, as you'll know, I used K-Ren's base coat. So if it was a sponsored vid, I would have used the whole system. But yeah, I'm glad you spotted that, mate. Brothers, I'd love to do I'd love to do demolition work. That would just be the most fun everyday ripping. Yeah, I'm with you. I'd like that sort of stuff as well. Chromas, do you need ventilation behind the plasterboard for a single skin brick wall? Yes, ultimately, because that single skin is going to bring moisture through, and the ventilation is going to, the air circulation is what's going to take the moisture away. I would possibly look at using a vapor check board as well, just to be on the safe side. Vapor check board, foil backboard. It's to stop moisture coming to the back of the plasterboard. Alan Westhead, night night. Who Garden, brilliant. The Wonder Mason, how do you plaster? Just go a little bit faster. Colleen Casey, demo's my favourite. Colleen, that doesn't surprise me. I do believe that all women love tearing stuff down. My missus is especially fond of it. Anything she's not happy with in the house, it gets ripped to bits, and then I get tasked with rebuilding it. So that doesn't surprise me. The amount of fellas that said to me, "Oh, I got home," and she'd bloody smashed half the wall down or took the doors off. So, Blue Horizon, buy a packet of them, remove the papers, and stick it on things. Yeah. How do you plaster of cleans down? Yeah. Right, guys. Thanks for watching. I've had a bloody good time. And it's been emotional as well. Good night, God bless. Take it easy, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out. Cheers, Tom. Yeah, peace out, Tom. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Good night.